Dear students, welcome in this UGC lecture series. Today I will deliver a lecture on reproductive organs, particularly human. First of all, we are going to discuss about the reproductive organs of male person. As you know, one pair testis is primary male sexual organs where sperms are formed. Actually, in the embryonic stage, all these both testes are formed intra-abdominally. But as soon as development progresses, under the effect of two important hormones, FSH of pituitary and testosterone of itself, testis descend down, goes down, comes outside the abdomen and reaches into the special skin chambers called scrotum or scrotal sacs and becomes extra-abdominal. Because this extra-abdominal condition is required for the formation of sperm or proper spermatogenesis. Inside the body, the temperature is too high for the formation of sperm. Sperms cannot be formed in the testes if the testes are found inside the abdomen. Hence, testis has to be descend down and has to be become extra-abdominal. In the scrotum, the temperature is about 2 degrees centigrade less from the body temperature, hence sperms can be easily formed outside the abdomen or in the scrotum. A very important condition, due to the hyposecretion of these hormones, if testis fail to descend down in a baby or embryo and always remain intra-abdominally, then sperms cannot be formed in this child or in this person, and this condition is called cryptorchidism, when the testes fail to descend down and always remain intra-abdominally. Testes are attached with the scrotum by a special type of muscles, a special type of tissue called gubernaculum, and testes are attached to the abdominal wall by another type of structure called spermatic cord. Spermatic cord also receives blood vessels to supply the blood to the testes and also has nerve fibers for the testes. If we see about the structure of testes, then testis is surrounded by a specific hard layer. This layer is tunica albuginea. This tunica albuginea is formed of white collagenous fibrous connective tissue, which is very hard and rigid tissue, protects the testis. From this outer tunica albuginea, several septa arise, which divides the testis into several compartments. In every compartment, 1, 2 or 3 or more in number, coiled tubules are found. These tubules are called seminiferous tubules, where actually sperms are formed. These seminiferous tubules are called as structural and functional units of testis. All the seminiferous tubules join to form a net-like structure inside the testis. This net-like structure is called rete testis. From this rete testis, about 12 to 20 small tubes arise and these are called vasa efferentia. All the vasa efferentia again combine to form a common duct. This common duct coils, again coils. After several times of coiling, it forms a coiled dense mass near the called epididymis. From the lower part of epididymis, this part uncoils and a straight tube arise called vas deferens, which carry the sperm towards the further direction. Pathway of sperm is seminiferous tubules, then rete testis, then vasa efferentia, then epididymis. Epididymis is that place of male organs where the sperms are stored for some time and acquire maturity. If we see about the internal structure, internal cavity of seminiferous tubule, then seminiferous tubule is internally lined by, each seminiferous tubule is internally lined by a specific type of layer called germinal epithelium. This layer is formed of a tissue called cuboidal epithelium. This cuboidal epithelium cells are very repairable cell, has a very divisional power. Rapidly divide by mitosis division to form several cells, group of cells called spermatogonia cells, which are sperm forming cells. After the process of spermatogenesis, all of you know that each spermatogonium cell forms 4 sperms. Between the main cells of germinal epithelium, some large cells are also found, and these large special nutritive cells are called Sertoli cells, on which after the formation of sperms get embedded, the head of sperms get embedded into these Sertoli cells and receive nourishment from these cells. You can say these cells can be also called as nurse cells because provide nourishment to the developing sperms. Between the seminiferous tubule, connective tissue is found, in which the endocrine part of testis is found. As you know that endocrine part of testis is called interstitial cells or Leydig cells, which secrete male hormones, and the primary male hormone of human or mammal is testosterone, which is required, which is responsible for the development of sexual organs of male and secondary sexual characters of male. Now about the passage of semen. What is semen? Semen is the collection of sperms plus secretion of seminal vesicle plus secretion of prostate gland. What is this prostate gland and seminal vesicle? One pair of seminal vesicle and a single prostate gland are primary male accessory or secondary glands. These glands secrete specific secretions or chemicals which mix with the semen, which mix with the sperms and form semen. Semen is alkaline in nature. pH is about 7.4 to 7.8. In the semen, about 10% part is formed of sperms, about 60 to 65% part is formed of secretion of seminal vesicle, and about 30 to 35% part is formed of secretion of prostate gland. That is the main part of semen is seminal vesicle. Now, both the vas deferens coil from the ureter and opens on the upper part of urethra. Urethra is a common passage for passing out the urine during the normal time, but at the time of specific time or during the time of copulation also for passing out the semen. Hence this pathway or urethra is also called urinogenital pathway. In the case of female, urinary pathway and sexual pathway are separate. But in the case of male, a common passage, a common opening, a common passage is found for passing out the urine as well as for passing out the semen. Hence this pathway is also called male urinogenital pathway. One problem is here. This urethra or male urinogenital passage is generally acidic because the pH of urine is 6. Hence this pathway is generally meant for urine. Hence this is acidic. If the urine is passed from this, if the semen is passed from this acidic pathway, then sperms will die, because sperms are not able to tolerate this acidic medium which is acidic due to urine. Hence this passage must be alkaline before passing out the semen. Hence when the animal is sexually excited, then first of all a pair of another male accessory gland called Cowper's gland, also called bulbourethral gland, get stimulated, secrete an alkaline and lubricate secretion in this passage, urethra passage. This secretion makes neutralizes the acidity of this passage to make the sperm safe, and also lubricates this passage for the easily ejaculation or easily discharging of semen. This is the purpose of Cowper's gland. If Cowper's gland get damaged, then and if the semen passes out through this urethra, then sperms will die and there will be no use of this semen. Now, at last about the external copulatory organ of male called penis. Penis is very important external copulatory organ which inseminates sperms or semen into the vagina of female. Actually, penis is formed of three cords, three sponge-like cords. Dorsal paired cord is called corpora cavernosa, but the front cord, the front pipe, you can say in simple, it is called as a pipe. The front pipe is called corpus spongiosum. Corpora cavernosa are behind part back pipes, back cords, which are used only to erect the penis, only for the have the erectile tissue of penis, help in the erection of penis. But the front pipe found in the penis, if you cut the section of penis, then you will find three sections. The two sections are of the section of corpora cavernosa, and one section is the corpus spongiosum. And you will find corpus spongiosum contains the passage of urethra. Urethra is found in the front pipe. Corpus spongiosum reaches up to the end of penis. Corpora cavernosa do not reach up to the end of penis. These are the erectile tissue, but only corpus spongiosum reaches up to the end of penis and forms the anterior part, which is swollen, pink color, highly sensitive part of penis. It is called as the glans penis. Glans penis is the extension of penis. This is covered by a folded skin called prepuce. Under the prepuce, a specific type of glands are found, sebaceous gland called Tyson's glands, Tyson, Tyson's gland, also called preputial glands. These glands secrete a white colored lubricate and a waxy secretion having a particular smell. This secretion is called smegma, S-M-E-G-M-A. Now we will move towards the female reproductive organs of a human. As you know that one pair of testes is primary male organs of male person, human. A pair of ovaries is primary female organs. But there is a difference. Testes in the case of male animal, testes in male are extra-abdominal, but in females, ovaries always remain intra-abdominally. Oval shaped structure, size is 4 cm long, 2 cm wide and only 1 cm thick. Each ovary is attached to this wall, lateral wall, side wall of abdomen by a specific type of structure called mesovarium. The mesovarium is a structure which holds the ovary inside the abdomen. Near each ovary, a specific funnel-like structure is found. This funnel-like structure is called fimbriated funnel or oviducal funnel, having an aperture in the middle. This aperture is called ostium. This aperture is called as the ostium. From this ostium, a thick tube arises. This tube is the fallopian tube or oviduct. Both the oviducts open into a pear-shaped muscular structure. This muscular structure is called uterus, where the embryonic development of an embryo occurs. We will discuss later on about the walls of uterus, but uterus is the place where the embryonic development occurs. Uterus opens outside by a tube, by a straight tube, some curved, but this tube is called vaginal tube or vaginal tube. This tube opens outside by an opening called vaginal opening. Vaginal opening is covered by a thin membrane. This membrane is called hymen, which remains intact. This membrane is called as the hymen. As you know, inside the ovary, ovum is formed, unfertilized egg is formed. As you know, at the 14th day of menstrual cycle, plus minus 2 vary, but ideally you can say at the 14th day of menstrual cycle, this ovum is released from the ovary under the influence of LH hormone secreted from the pituitary. This ovum is captured by oviducal funnel, transferred to the fallopian tube, and now this ovum is waiting for the sperm in the fallopian tube. At the time of copulation, sperms enter through vaginal opening inside the vagina, then move further uterus, then comes into the fallopian tube, and here the fertilization. Very important point, fertilization in the case of mammals occurred in the fallopian tube. Zygote is formed. The development of zygote starts, the division in zygote starts in the fallopian tube. A small embryo is formed. This small embryo moves towards the uterus, reaches into the uterus at the 3rd or 4th day from fertilization. Development again continues. At the 7th day from fertilization, these are the basic points of development in the study of female reproductive organs. This small embryo which is formed at the 7th day from fertilization, it is called blastocyst or blastula. This blastocyst or blastula is attached with the uterus wall, and this is called establishment of pregnancy or implantation of embryo by placenta. Placenta is a junction or tube, not tube, placenta is a junction, or placenta is a type of tissue which help to join the embryo with the uterus wall. That is, implantation occurs or pregnancy is established at the 7th day from fertilization. Fertilization always occur in the fallopian tube. Now towards the external genitalia, external sexual organs, external apertures, external organs of female. The vaginal opening is covered by hymen but surrounded by two pairs skin fold. The inner skin fold is very thin, lubricated. Internal parts of body called labium minora or labium minus. The outer skin fold, which is thick, continuous layer of body, which is called labia majora or labia majus. You can compare the labia majus with the scrotum of male, because scrotum of male is formed of skin of body. In the case of female, labia majora is also formed of the skin of body. So these organs are the labia majora of female and scrotum of male are homologous structure to each other. A specific type of muscular node-like structure called clitoris is found above the vaginal opening. This clitoris is a very important organ for female. Actually, the development of this clitoris is same as the development of glans penis, or you can say penis in the case of male. If you see a male embryo or female embryo in the primitive condition, then you are not able to distinguish by seeing this organ. This organ is going to form the penis or this organ is not going to form the penis, because the origin of this clitoris in the case of female and the origin of penis in the case of male are same. The tissues are same. If this embryo is the embryo of female, then this structure remains undeveloped from the clitoris, and if this embryo is going to form the male, then this embryonic structure develops and to form the developed organ called penis in the case of male. Again, you can say clitoris of female and glans penis or penis of male are homologous structures. Origins are same. Basic structure or original tissues are same, but functions are different. The function of penis is to transfer the sperm into the body of female, but the function of clitoris is only to develop the sexual excitement in female. Between the clitoris and vaginal opening, a small opening is found called female urinary aperture. Urinary aperture, and behind this aperture, urinary bladder is present, in which urine comes from the kidney through ureter, and through this aperture urine passes out. And all these external structures of female clitoris, as I have told you, clitoris, urinary opening, vaginal opening, covered by two pairs of skin fold. The outer skin fold, labia majora, thick, continuous covering of skin, and inner is the inner covering of a body called labia minora. Near the vaginal opening, one pair of female accessory glands are found, and these female accessory glands are called as the Bartholin's gland. These Bartholin glands functions like the Cowper's gland of male. When the female animal or female human is sexually excited, then first of all, these Bartholin glands secrete an alkaline and lubricant secretion to make all these passages lubricate for the easily copulation and to neutralizes the acidity of urine. One more important point: Cowper's gland of male and Cowper's gland or bulbourethral glands of male and Bartholin's gland of female are also homologous, because the original tissues of all these both these glands in male and female are similar. Functions are also same, to provide the alkalinity and to provide the lubrication, but origins of both these glands are also same. When the origins are same, then these glands are homologous structures. A general internal structure of ovary, then as you know that internal lining of ovary is called germinal epithelium. The cells of germinal epithelium divides continuously to form oogonia cell. Oogonia cells form the ova by a process to form ova or ovum. Singular is ovum and ova is plural. To form ova by a process called as the oogenesis. First of all, a group of ovum is present called granulosa cells or follicular cells. One oogonium cell, one cell enlarges in size. Actually, this cell receives the nourishment from the surrounding cell, enlarges in size, and is going to form the ovum. It is called primary oocyte. During the course of oogenesis or development, a crescentic or moon-shaped cavity is formed. This cavity is called follicular cavity. As soon as development progresses, secondary oocyte, primary oocyte is formed, then after secondary oocyte is formed, but not ovum is formed. A fully mature ovum is never formed in the ovary. The ovulation occurs at the stage of secondary oocyte. So when the ovum is formed when the sperm is going to enter in the ovum. As the sperm enters, as the sperm touches to the ovum, then meiosis or oogenesis process again starts, and then ovum is formed. Finally, sperm enter and oogenesis completes or zygote is formed. So complete oogenesis never occurs in ovary. The oogenesis completes only in the fallopian tube. Primary oocyte, then after in the ovary secondary oocyte is formed. This secondary oocyte secrete a special chemical surrounds the secondary oocyte. This secretion is called, this layer is called as the zona pellucida. This layer is called as the zona pellucida. Behind, around this zona pellucida, some cells of this group accumulate, forming another layer called corona radiata. Secondary oocyte, zona pellucida, corona radiata. This crescentic or this moon-shaped cavity is called follicular cavity. The outer cells are called membrana granulosa, and all these structures is attached with the ovary wall by a specific type of tissue. This the group of tissue is called discus proligerus. This complete structure is covered by two another coverings. The inner covering is theca interna and outer covering is theca externa. This complete mature structure is called Graafian follicle. This Graafian follicle is completely formed up to the 13 or 14 day from the first day of menstrual cycle. Then LH is secreted by the pituitary gland. This secondary oocyte is released with its both covering. Both the coverings are found on the secondary oocyte when this secondary oocyte is released. ZP, zona pellucida towards the inside, CR, corona radiata towards the outside. And this secondary oocyte with its both covering is received by, as I have told you, fimbriated funnel, reaches to the fallopian tube and is now waiting for the sperms. This is the anatomical structure of ovary. It is all about the male organs of human and female organs of human, anatomical structure of testis, anatomical structure of ovary, and basic cycle or basic concept of the formation of the ovum, how the ovum is formed. I am telling you one more important point. If fertilization occur, then corpus luteum, what is corpus luteum? Actually, when the ovum is released, when the secondary oocyte, actually the term ovum is used normally, but this is not ovum, this is secondary oocyte, I have told you. So when the secondary oocyte is released from the Graafian follicle, then this Graafian follicle is not called Graafian follicle, it is called corpus luteum. This corpus luteum is the endocrine gland of ovary which secrete a hormone called progesterone. This progesterone hormone is required for the preparation of uterus for the maintenance of pregnancy. It makes the uterus wall thick, muscular, vascular for the proper implantation of embryo. But if fertilization occurs, zygote is formed, then this corpus luteum remains in the ovary the whole length of pregnancy, secrete continuously progesterone hormone which maintains the pregnancy. Menstrual cycle stops. But if pregnancy is not established, then there is no use of corpus luteum, there is no use of progesterone, there is no use of maintained thick wall of uterus, hence corpus luteum degenerates, converts into an inactive structure called corpus albicans which slowly disappears in the ovary. And as the corpus luteum disintegrates, progesterone secretion stops, and as the progesterone secretion is not available, then uterus wall, the maintained thick uterus wall start to break down, and these broken tissues, dirty blood, mucus and inactive secondary oocyte passes out from the body through vaginal opening. It is the starting of new menstrual cycle, it is the bleeding phase or menstrual flow. It is all about the male organs and female organs and some concept of the menstrual cycle also. On the next turn, we will discuss another topic of zoology. Wish you all the best and good luck.